Talk about the new John Deere 850L crawler dozer. Just going to go over a few of the updates from the K series to the L series. Start with the engine. The 850L now runs a 9-liter engine from the 6.8 to the 9-liter. In doing that, John Deere got a 10% increase in horsepower and 23% in total torque. Horsepower now rated at 225 horse. This is a dual path hydrostatic machine, so what that means, there's a separate pump, separate motor for each track, one for the left side, one for the right side. They've increased the hydrostatic pumps by 13%, so it means more power to the ground. John Deere's increased the cab size by 15%. A lot more leg room in there. They've put an angled seat, 15 degrees. In doing that, they also moved the SSM, the sealed switch module, and the monitor up on the post. So instead it used to be out in front of you, in front of the dozer, now it's kind of more in line with your eyesight. They've changed the controls, a little more ergonomical. They're EH controls. They've got proportional switches on them, thumb switches for your FNR and for your angle or your blade angle. The cab is also 20% quieter than the previous cab, so you'll notice a huge difference when you're running it from inside. Hydraulic wise, they've rerouted all the hydraulic hoses. They've reduced the average hose length by 16%. They've also rerouted all the electrical wires and harnesses, and they've reduced the total harness bundle packages by 33%. So a big improvement there. Final drives, they're double reduction planetary final drives. They're mounted independently from the track frame and the push frame, and they do that purposely to avoid shock load. The average plate size on this machine has been increased by 60%. Service doors have been increased in thickness by 50%, so a lot thicker, a little more robust. Overall, this machine's a bigger, stronger, more powerful machine. We've gone to the pat blade. We now offer the largest pat blade in the industry, this being a 168-inch blade. We do offer a 172-inch. There's other configurations. When it comes to the blade, you can get an outside dozer with a straight blade, semi-U with a power tilt. There's forestry configurations, pipe layer configurations. John Deere's also increased the track length on this. So now this is a 130-inch track length, so more track on the ground. It's an 8-roller system, so you got 8 rollers standard. In the past, there was the standard was 7. They've increased that. 8 was an option, but now it's a standard feature. Hydraulics and hydrostatics. We talked about dual path hydrostatics. Our hydrostatic system and our hydraulic system are separated. So what that means, they have separate reservoirs, separate filters. They're common oil, same filters. But the benefit for that is if you do get contamination, you're not getting contamination in both sides. So on this side, this is your hydraulic side. You got a hydraulic sight gauge right there, hydraulic oil sight gauge, your fuel water separators. And this filter here will be the same as on the other side for your hydrostatics. This cab does tilt 70 degrees. The procedure to do it is very quick and simple, but it's shown right here on the door. So for mechanics, it's a dream actually if they have to get into the pumps. They literally just undo a couple of bolts on the front mounts, and then and you can see there's a jack and a safety bar in there, and this whole cab tilts right out of the way 70 degrees. And then your typical service checks. This is just your washer fluid, fuel water separator, and again hydraulic oil on this side. Most of the other stuff's done on the other side. You can see the thickness of these doors. They're a lot heavier than the predecessor. Cooling, we can talk about cooling package. They've increased the fin spacing on these quite a bit. I believe I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's 7 or 8 fins per square inch. It's a hydraulically driven fan, reversible fan. It does come on automatically. You can set them to come on more frequently. I think right now it's set to come on every half an hour, but you can set it to come on in increments of 10 minutes, or there's a manual override switch in the cab. These access panels, if you had to get in and clean the coolers out manually, you can take these off and allow you access between the fan and the coolers. They're not stacked, it's just a straight cooler. And on this side is your hydrostatic reservoir. So you got a sight gauge to check that right here. All the same part numbers for filters. You got your night switch or your battery disconnect here. And then Deere's very stringent on these periodic maintenance charts. Very good reference. Tells you what to do daily, like every 10 hours or daily, 50 hours, 250 and so on, what to check for. All the lubricants that are needed. Nice little decal to show you how to check the track sag. And another nice option that Deere puts on most of their machines is service lights. So if you are working at night and you have to get in here, there's a little button there, in there and in the engine compartment. There's a light that comes on so you can make those checks while you're in the dark. In this door here, this is where you do your engine oil. As you can see, you have really nice access to the cooler as well on the back side. Again, if you had to get in between the cooler and the fan, you just remove that panel up there. It is a reversible fan, so it does blow most of the material out. This is the pre-screen. So any material that can get through these holes will blow right through the fins on the cooler. Engine oil dipstick is here. It's also the fill cap, so it's all incorporated in one. So you just basically pull that. If you had to add oil, you would add it right in there. Your coolant reservoir is up here. You can check it from down below too, if you can see right from here. That's typically how I do it. There's a visual right there, but you can also get up on top and look. In eco mode, they actually, if you run this machine in eco mode, you see up to 30% reduction in fuel savings. So that's good. More power, more track to the ground, a lot more ergonomic. So the operator's a lot happier. There's some preset settings in there. So if you're doing production dosing, grading, you can actually, there's a setting in there where you push the button and it feels like torque drive. So it feels more like the cat style, if that's what you're more comfortable with. And then you can just customize it, right? All right, we're sitting in the new John Deere 850L crawler dozer. I'm gonna go over some of the controls inside the cab, explain what's what. Right here is our sealed switch module. It's solid state electronics in this machine, so there's only 6 wires coming to this pad. In doing that, we've eliminated a whole bunch of rocker switches, made the electronics a lot more simpler. I'll go over what each of these functions can do. If you're ever confused as to what's what, there is a decal on all John Deere equipment. Posted on the window here, it'll explain exactly what each button does. These sealed switch modules have been tested for over, I believe, 2 million cycles, so we've had them out for quite a while, never had any issues with them. Easy for troubleshooting and so on. Anyhow, to start the machine, it's a keyless machine. You have a key really just to open up the doors. That's your engine start. Press it once, electronics come on, press and hold it a second time, machine fires up. That's engine stop. Wiper functions, reversible fan drive. This is the manual override button. This machine does come on automatically. Right now it's preset for every 30 minutes. You can go into the monitor and adjust that to come on more frequently, I believe in increments of 10 minutes, or manual override. This is your hydraulic enable switch, basically just a safety feature. None of your hydraulics on this machine will work unless this is activated, so the light has to be on. This is your park brake. It's a spring applied hydraulically released brake, multiple wet disc. That's how you would turn that off. These are all pretty much self-explanatory. That's your left door wiper, front window windshield wiper, right door window wiper. Headlights, washer fluid, door fluid. This button here is an interesting one. It's neutral. If you want to counter rotate when you're in neutral, when this machine is in neutral, it's got what they call dynamic braking. So the hydrostatics won't allow it to free run, won't allow the tracks to just roll away on you. If you need to counter rotate, if you're on a hill and you're on a hill hold, you want to counter rotate, just hit that button and it'll allow you to do that in neutral. This button right here is auto idle. Right here, this is your decel mode. What this does, it adjusts the way your decelerator pedal works. One setting is transmission only, so you'll have full RPM, full hydraulics all the time, and when pressing this pedal, it'll just slow your tracks down. The other mode is engine and transmission, which some operators like to run. They like to hear the engine go up and down while they're pressing this button. This is an auxiliary function. That's just to turn on auxiliaries if you're running any sort of implement off the back, other than the ripper. This thing's equipped with a ripper. This button here is your reverse ratio. Again, the decal explains how it works. No lights are on. It basically goes in reverse in the same speed it does going forward. In this case, you see two lights on, so it's at 115%. What that means, it'll go 15% faster in reverse than it does in forward. And now we got our eco mode button. The way that works is basically it keeps your RPMs at the lowest possible setting, and under load the machine will adjust engine speed and transmission speeds when it feels fit. So if it's under a lot of load, you might hear the engine RPMs come up and the transmission kick back and push through the pile a lot better. Here you got your throttles. It's throttle up, throttle down. If you push this once, it'll go right to full throttle, which runs roughly around 1700 RPMs. Hit this one once, it'll go drop back down. Idles around 900 RPMs. If you want to adjust it and customize it, let's say you want to run 1200 RPMs, you press and hold the throttle up button, and it'll start climbing up, and you just let go where you like to keep it at. Yeah, in previous models in the K series, for example, you would have seen park brake levers on both sides. Basically, they're safety bars. They would activate each hydrostatic pump and motor. This machine eliminated those, and what they've done is they put sensors in the seat and in the seat belt. So in order to operate this machine, you have to have an operator sitting in the machine with their seat belt fastened. The park brake will not release unless the seat belt is on and you're sitting in the seat. Next, I'm going to show you a few things on the monitor. Again, in this 850L, a couple things they've changed. We now have an angled seat, sits at 15 degrees. We've also moved the monitor up here on this panel so that it's more in line with the operator's vision. It used to be down here. We put it up here now. To access the menu, you basically hit the menu button, which is this one here, and then you have a whole bunch of different options you can go through. One thing I want to show you is how you can adjust the transmission mode. So to do that, you have an arrow over button. You hit it. Once it's highlighted, you hit this check mark button to enter. You enter into it. Right now it's set for normal operation, but if you're doing production dozing, smooth grading, or if you like that torque shifts feel, you can go and make those adjustments. And then there's another option, custom, where you can go and customize it yourself for whatever setting you like. And it's very simple. You just hit the down arrow button. Let's say in this case you're doing a lot of grading. Hit it smooth, hit the arrow button to select, and it makes all those adjustments and calibrates it the way it should be. Nice thing about this machine too, it has onboard diagnostics. You can go into the diagnostics menu, check up diagnostic trouble codes. If there's a problem with the machine, it'll tell you exactly in there what's going on. It'll give you the code. You can phone our office, tell the shop what the code is. They'll know exactly what tools they need to come out and do the proper repair. This machine's also equipped with JD Link, the telematics system. Comes with a 5-year subscription, and part of that is Service Advisor. What Service Advisor is it's a remote application where if you do have a diagnostic trouble code, our shop can actually log into this machine over the internet, look at that code, and in some cases it might just be a firmware or software update that they need to do, and they can do that remotely via the internet. Kind of a nice feature. Multiple other settings here. You You can check out your fuel consumption. You can go in and adjust all your hydraulic settings. If you can adjust your F&R rate, shift rates. If you want a smoother transition between forward and reverse, you can go in there and make those adjustments. There's a security feature. Because this is a keyless machine, you can see there's numbers on the keypad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on, and an arrow. Basically, you can set up to 10 operator codes. So in the morning, you come in here, you type in your own personal code, fire it up. It won't allow you to fire it up until you enter that code. And then it's a nice feature too. Through JD Link, you can see exactly which operator was running it that day and how they were running it. See how much idle time or how much they were running it in full production mode and so on. Machine fan, you can see that. That's where you go in and adjust your reversible fan drive. So for example, select that. Right now it's reverse fan cycle set for 30 minutes. If I enter into that, I'm going to make the adjustments. 30, 45, 60, 90. And again, that's your manual override switch there. If you ever, at any moment you want to go back to the main menu, you just hit this menu button and it'll take you back to the main screen.